Welcome to Ask Loz, the video series where I answer your manifestation questions, especially ones where you can't uncover your subconscious thinking, and I will uncover it for you in one of these videos. In this video, this person feels like they've done something wrong with their SP. They've lied. They've not been themselves with that person and they want forgiveness. Let's get into it. Hi guys, I'm Loz and I'm the person who's going to uncover for you your subconscious thinking that you're not aware you're thinking and tell you the things you need to do to fix that so you can fix your reality, because everyone is simply manifest in your reality the way you feel about you, the way you feel and think about you, which is your concept of self, your self-concept. And this particular question that someone's asked me, and it's anonymous, really hit home for me. And the reason is because it was kind of close to or very similar to the kind of thoughts I had about myself before I started working on my concept of self. I had body dysmorphia for most of my life, very undiagnosed. And the thoughts this particular person has in their question and in their scenario is very similar to the kind of things that were manifest for me in my reality based on my body dysmorphia. So I'm just going to get into it. And if you've ever had a situation where you feel not good enough for your person, for your specific person, this question will really help you. So let's get into the question. How do I manifest my specific person when I did things wrong? If I acted bad or hurt them, how can I manifest a healthy relationship? I have known him for 4 years. The reason why I said that this particular Ask Loz was very close to home for me, any of you that are in my subconscious Loz squad or know me well and have watched a lot of my videos where I talk about my personal life will know that my dominant assumption about myself that I've discovered, my core self-concept is I do things wrong because I'm wrong, because there's something wrong with me. And when I read this form, I burst out crying and I couldn't record it. So I'm terribly sorry this is delayed for the person who sent this in to me, but I actually had a hard time answering this because it was so close to home. So I'll try to answer this without crying. This is the detail she gave about the situation. I always wanted to date him, but he just wants to be friends. I made some horrible mistakes and I lied a lot. She's written that in capital letters, about serious things like school or death. My SP found out about some of them, not all of them, and we didn't talk for a few weeks. Looking back, I was a complete psychopath. I used to think I was a psychopath, darling. Don't worry, you're not. I am now trying to be better and not lie. I used to be a compulsive liar as well as a kid. My SP has said he forgives me, but I feel like this situation is hopeless. It's not. No situation is hopeless. I am not good enough. My family is also very different from his. He might not want someone broken. Now, first of all, I just want you to take that word broken out of your vocabulary. No one here is broken, okay? That's just a thought we have about ourselves when we feel really low and feel we're not enough for the person and we feel like something's really wrong with us. We'll actually think we're broken. None of us are broken, guys. We all have trauma or things that have happened to us in our childhood that make us who we are. That doesn't make us broken. It just makes us human, okay? Describe your childhood in one short paragraph. Very dysfunctional. My mum had a lot of mental health issues and my dad was never around. He died of drugs a few years ago. My mum never had a job and lived off the state. I was never loved as a kid and was always alone. I was bullied by family members over wearing glasses and they always made fun of me. My mum and all grandparents were abusive, which I never talk about and no one knows. I always had only 1 or 2 friends and spent most of my time alone. I was made fun of by my family and others for my speech problems. I was also hit in the face and yelled at a lot. I was told I was ugly. Can you understand why I had a hard time reading this? Because that's awful. That's awful, darling. That's no childhood. No one should be bullying you about something that they feel is wrong with you, okay? And anyone who does that has got something severely wrong with them, that they are treating a child that way. And I don't know what happened to your parents in their childhood, but obviously something really fucked up for your grandparents and your parents and your family to treat you that way. And your treatment as a child has nothing to do with you. Unfortunately, the trauma and the abuse you experience as a child, guys, is inflicted upon you by adults. You don't have any fully formed subconscious thought until the age of 7. So you can't be reflecting out and manifesting anything until after that. So whatever this child experienced was not her fault, and she shouldn't be blaming herself or feeling like a psychopath or not enough or broken because of what happened to her. What she's got to separate is who she is and what happened to her and what was inflicted upon her as a child, and the abuse she endured had nothing to do with her. And it didn't have any reflection on the person she is, or that she's wrong, or there was something wrong with her. The parents had something wrong with them. You understand? I don't want anyone to feel like when they listen to manifestation coaches that they're ever manifesting something bad that happened to them as a child, like abuse. No child manifests their reality, okay? Only adults do that. Later on, as you become an older child and you've formed your own subconscious thought and you've had a whole lot of experiences from the age of 0 to 7, then the same cycle will perpetuate. So if you were abused, you'll continue to be abused until you change your concept of self. But unfortunately, you can't, because you're a child and your concept of self has been formed. Your subconscious thinks that's who you are. And this girl would have had a terrible story in her mind because of the treatment she endured, that she wasn't enough and something was wrong with her. So she might have had a few small things wrong with her in her mind, or someone picked on it, and then it stuck with her that that was wrong. And therefore then everyone in her reality after that started bullying her about it. And bullying in school often happens over and over and over again, despite the child leaving the school and going to a different school, because of that child's concept of self. So if that child's got a story that something's wrong with them because someone planted that seed in their mind, just like something about a speech impediment or their glasses, could be a very small teasing comment that happened to them, then they'll feed that into their mind. Their mind will think there's something wrong with them. They'll push that out, and then everyone in their reality, including schoolmates, will bully them because that's their belief. That's not true, darling. There's nothing wrong with you. And just because you had a speech impediment doesn't mean there was anything wrong with you. And just because you had glasses doesn't mean there was anything wrong with you. And because your parents didn't know how to parent, that has nothing to do with you. And that doesn't mean there was anything wrong with you. Okay? I want you to take away any of the stories that your parents or grandparents or family members gave you as a child that have really messed with your mind and made you believe that there's something wrong with you. You were born perfect, darling. And I really want you to understand that. And even if you're born with something wrong with you, you're born perfect. You're born that way for a reason. See, I told you I was going to get emotional because it's very close to home for me. Even if you're born with something wrong, I don't know, you had a disability or a speech impediment, or you really needed thick Coke bottle glasses, or you had a facial deformity, or whatever it is. I want you guys to own that and understand you're born that way for a reason. And sometimes when you get older like me, you'll realize there's a real reason for that. And the reason will help you in life. It will force you to become the new you who doesn't feel that way about themselves. And I know that my body dysmorphia has allowed me to read people really well, to understand their problems, and to do this job. And had I not experienced that, had I not experienced feeling that I wasn't enough and I wasn't good enough and there was something wrong with me, I wouldn't be able to do this job at all. And I wouldn't be able to understand people the way I do and uncover their subconscious thinking that's messing them up the way I do. So that thing that happened to me and the things that I experienced as a child almost became a gift when I was older. I'm in my 40s. And you sound a lot younger than me, darling, and you probably won't get to this point just yet, that you'll realize that the things that happen to you might be a gift later on. It's what makes you special. And you're good special, not bad special. And I want you to tell yourself that. So what I want you to do is understand that everything you did with your specific person, the lying, the telling him untrue stories, the making out that you were someone that you're not, all comes from your dominant story that you as a person isn't enough. So you were trying to make yourself into someone else to make him admire you and want you and think you were enough. But unfortunately, the story that you weren't enough forced you into a role where you were lying and making up stories. And sometimes when you lie, and I know I did this as a kid, I lied, and then you've got to perpetuate the lie because you lie. But you're lying because you feel not good enough. You're lying because you don't think you as a person is enough. So you make up a persona, or you have a real front that isn't really you. And I know I used to have a real front on when I was with people in relationships when I was younger, and also with my friends. And a lot of people didn't really know me. And if you've done my self-concept course, and this person may have, and if she hasn't, it'd be helpful if she did. Have you done both the free course and the mini course? Have you done the self-concept course? Okay, well, this person has done the self-concept course, and now I've seen she has. So her fear that she won't be chosen, she's not enough, is very high, and her fear that she won't be loved is very high, and her fear that she'll be hurt is quite high. Now, the reason why, and the person will leave. So the way it's working with this particular person is she thinks she's not enough. Therefore, she thinks she won't be loved because she's not enough as she is, or something's wrong with her. Then she'll fear that the person will leave her or hurt her because she's not enough. So what she needs to work on is what is in the self-concept course of Kick-Ass You, inside the modules that are about those particular fears that are very high for her, and do the affirmations that go with those. Things like, I am more than enough. I was born special. I am good special, not bad special. There is nothing wrong with me. I was born perfect. I can be my real self now. I can let people in. I can show them who I really am, and they love the me that I am. I don't have to change for anyone. They love me as I am. I am enough just as I am. That's what you need to be saying to yourself, darling. And the more you tell yourself that, and the more you believe that about yourself, the more your specific person will show up believing that about you too. But unfortunately, you've got the story that he won't forgive you. Don't worry about it. All you have to do is forgive yourself. You can go back to the scenes in your mind where you made up stories and change it and revise it if you want to try that. But I think the easiest thing to do is just decide he doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him. He understands you. And he realizes why you did it, and he forgives you because he loves you. He forgives you because he understands. He understands you. And sometimes when you feel very misunderstood, you'll think no one will understand you. But I want you to have the story that he does understand, and therefore he would never judge you or hold on to grudges or not forgive you. He understands why you did it, and he forgives you and loves you anyway. That's what you need to tell yourself, darling. And that's the new story you need to have about yourself. You're not broken. You're not a psychopath. You didn't do anything wrong. You did the things you did because you felt not good enough as a person. You felt like you wouldn't be chosen for your looks, for your family background. That's another thing you spoke about, that your family wouldn't be enough, that his family was better than yours. That's bullshit. That's just a story you've got going because of the background you had. Drug taking, lower socioeconomic background compared to his, whatever the story is you've got in your mind, you're going to find a whole lot of reasons why you're not going to be as good as him. Your family wouldn't be as good as his. They're just stories, darling. And they're all the reasons your brain is trying to find, your subconscious mind is trying to find why you won't be enough. Oh, and your family isn't enough. And yeah, his parents didn't take drugs and his parents didn't abandon him. You're not enough. It's just finding reasons why you're not enough, darling. It's not true. People can come from all kinds of backgrounds. Doesn't mean they're not lovable, does it? Think about people who had the worst backgrounds in the world. Look at Oprah, okay? Is she lovable? Is she loved? She's one of the most loved people in the world. Her background and what happened to her doesn't determine who she is now. And she's got a wonderful book called What Happened to You, okay? You've got to understand that what happened to you as a child holds no bearing over the girl that you are. It's just what happened to you, darling. And I want you to separate yourself from that and decide you are lovable just as you are, and you're born perfect. And somewhere, somehow, in some way, probably when you're a little bit older, you might start realizing why those things were inflicted upon you and why you're born the way you are and why you experience certain things. And that will actually form even more of you and make you realize, God damn it, I am special because I went through that shit. And look at me, I got through it. That's how special I am. I got through the fires. I'm like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Look how fucking great I am. That's what I want you to say about yourself, darling, okay? And then when you have that story about yourself, your SP will think that too. So go back in your mind and forgive yourself for anything you did, any of those events that happened with him. Decide he's forgiven you too. See you and him all loved up and happy together, and banish from your mind any story that you have to be forgiven because you're broken or not enough, darling. And just try and be a little bit more yourself every day. Let people really see you. I can be my real self now, and people love the real me. That's what I want you to really step into. The new state of you that knows she was born perfect and there's nothing wrong with her. If you would like your question answered, guys, you can ask me your Ask Loz question on my website. Just fill out the form and I will answer you with a video reply like this. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.